Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Truth and Consequences podcast from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm your host, Doug Poppa. For those of you that are not familiar with the Land Kauffman murders and other things that was going on with Metro that I reported on, both as an investigative journalist with the Baltimore Post-Examiner and now my podcast, I'm just going to give you, once you listen to this, it's an excerpt of a podcast I did in 2020, and it's about 4 minutes long, and it just gives you a little synopsis so you get some perspective if you're not familiar with this case. The voice you're going to hear on this excerpt, and I'll play it, but again, this is a recording from an excerpt from a podcast I did in October of 2020, and mentioned in there, you'll hear then Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Melanie Andress-tobiasson. She's no longer a judge, but she was back in 2020, and I interviewed her in May of 2018 when I was writing for the Baltimore Post-Examiner. October 27th will be 4 years since the bodies of Sidney Land and Nehemiah Kauffman were found, both shot in the head, in their southwest Las Vegas apartment. As I have been reporting on for 19 months, the unsolved murders are surrounded by allegations of police corruption, negligence, incompetence, and a cover-up. Judge Melanie Andress-tobiasson, in an on-the-record recorded interview with me in May of 2018, identified the persons responsible for the murders. She also said that the police had all the evidence to make arrests, and they failed to do so, claiming that evidence may have been destroyed by the police. If you have been following the Truth and Consequences with Doug Poppa podcast, then you are familiar with Judge Tobiasson's statements that the murders happened as a result of her and her daughter Sarah being outed as a source of confidential information to Las Vegas Metro Police Officer Ty Bowden and his daughter Allie, just hours prior to the murders. Tobiasson said that the person who outed her and her daughter was none other than Las Vegas Metro Police Vice Detective Justine Gaddis. According to Tobiasson, that led to the murders of Sidney Land and Nehemiah Kauffman. Tobiasson said it was her and her daughter who were meant to be killed, not Sidney and Nehemiah. Connie Land and her family have been fighting for answers going on 4 years. Judge Tobiasson told me in the May 2018 recorded interview with her, and later in an email, that Las Vegas homicide detective Jared Grimmett was providing confidential details about the Land Kauffman murder investigation to her. Tobiasson also told this to Connie Land in 2017, which is backed up by text messages between Tobiasson and Land, as I have reported previously. Here are a few audio excerpts from Judge Tobiasson's interview with me. Keep in mind, as I have previously reported, Las Vegas Metro Police homicide detective Mitchell Dosh told Connie Land in a 2018 text message that Tobiasson was indeed outed by vice detectives at the meeting you will hear Tobiasson describe. As I previously reported, Sheriff Joe Lombardo transferred Detective Justine Gaddis to the Homicide Bureau, a great place to be for a detective who likes to dime out confidential sources of information. A sitting judge has leveled some very serious charges against the police. And more recently, Judge Tobiasson's veracity has been bolstered by not only Sheriff Lombardo, but also by the FBI, as I have stated in the last few podcasts. Now, here are the audio excerpts.
So they bring her in for an interview with her police officer father. First question out of Justine Gaddis's mouth. Do you know Sarah Tobiasson? Yes, I do. She's one of my best friends. Second statement out of Justine Gaddis's mouth. We got your name from her mom. She says you're working as a prostitute for a pimp by the name of Shane Valentine. I get the call from Van Cleef, who is beside himself. He goes, I don't know what to do. And I said, how about you get the fuck back in there and fix this? I go, she just put a fucking target on my daughter. I go, you think this guy's going to kill me? He's not going to kill me. He's going to kill my kid. I go, what is wrong with you people? I said, there is no way that this was an accident. I go, no vice detective, I don't care if they've been there for 1 day, would do that by accident. I go, this was intentional. So I bring my daughter and Ollie to my house. I tell them, I go, you guys need to get to the house right now. You're not safe. So
you brought your daughter. You said you hang on. You said you brought your daughter and who to your house?
Allie, the daughter of the police officer that they had just outed me to. Van Cleef calls me back. He and Justine want to meet with me and my daughter, and I told them basically to, I won't tell you what I said, but it wasn't very nice. And I said, you guys have a reason for doing what you did, and I don't know what it is. I said that if something happens to my daughter, we can have a real big fucking problem. So that night, unbeknownst to me at this time, Allie leaves my house and she puts out a tweet about the fact that she was called in and questioned by Vice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, unfortunately, at this point, Allie was no longer associated with Shane Valentine. She was associated with Nehemiah Kauffman. And like I said, they had had a beef because Shane was upset that Neo was taking Shane's goals. So that night at about 12:30, so it would have been 12:30, October 26th, 12:30 a.m., Shane Valentine, the guy by the name of Dominique Thompson, he went by Domo, D-O-M-O, and a girl by the name of Frankie, F-R-A-N-K-I-E, Zappia, Z-A-P-P-I-A. Shane, Domo, and Frankie, whose stepdad is a police officer by the name of Dano, D-A-N-O, Giersdorf, G-I-E-R-S-D-O-R-S. Go to Neo's house and execute Neo and his girlfriend, Sydney Land. Dano,
Right.
D-A-N-O,
Right.
Giersdorf, is the stepfather of Frankie Zappia, one of the suspects in the double homicide that happened 8 hours after I was outed as a source of information to one of Shane Valentine's prostitutes who had left him and was now working for Neo. 8 hours later, her new pimp is killed by her old pimp because she put out on Twitter that she had been called in and interviewed by Vice. They know, and everyone else knows, that this murder happened as a result of what they did that day.
So has anybody been indicted for this double murder?
No, that's what I just said. They're covering it up. And they know that the fact that they outed me got 2 people killed. They weren't the 2 people they were trying to get killed, me and my daughter, but it got 2 people killed.
Let me ask you-
I'll tell you, Joe does not want this story out there. They don't know that I know what evidence they have. Chances are they've destroyed it by now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was from an excerpt from October 2020. Very interesting. When she talks about Joe, she's talking about Joe doesn't want this out there. That was then Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Melanie andress-tobiasson from an excerpt from my on-the-record recorded interview with her in April of 2018. And I'll have the link to that full interview in the description section of this podcast. When she's talking about Joe doesn't want this out there, she's referring to Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo, who runs the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And, you can take it for what it's worth, what she said.